Happy Wednesday! It's the Prop Queen. We are going the entire hour talking NBA props. Mr. Dreamy One going to join the show today, and we are going to talk at around 5:30. He's going to talk some NBA props with us as well. He's got some parlays for you if you're into parlays. I've got a prize picks lineup for tonight. Literally going every NBA game on the slate today. So I hope you guys like the NBA. I hope that we also gave out some winners yesterday in hockey. The association yesterday was okay. We hit Draymond over as one of the best bets. Some of the other two best bets didn't hit, but there were a lot of others throughout the prop queen edges that did, like McBride for the Knicks went under. That was a crazy game. Knicks almost made a huge comeback, but honestly, they didn't deserve it. They're on the second leg of a back-to-back tonight. Who else? Spurs are on the second leg of a back-to-back tonight as well. Big slate of games in the association. And a lot of injuries, too. I was looking at the injury list. I'll go through some of them. I know injuries for tomorrow already coming out, too. But Norman Powell listed out today. That was a big one that we didn't know too much about yet. Avdija questionable, Jamal Murray questionable, PJ Washington questionable, Donovan Clingan questionable, Daniel Gafford questionable, Kevin Porter Jr. questionable, Duncan Robinson questionable, Trey Jones questionable, probable, Nikola Jokic, Giannis, LaMelo, Malik Monk, doubtful, Isaiah Okoro. Those are some updated lists of some of the injuries for today that we needed to know. We're going to take advantage of some of the injuries as well, because in the NBA, there's a great way to take advantage of injuries, and props.cash does help us with that. And remember, you guys can sign up for props.cash using promo code PropQueen, and you get 50% off of your first month, and you get all the graphs that I'm going to show you today. I'm going to get to someone's first. There was a very funny story that really no one cares about and has nothing to do with gambling, unless you're into the fact that Kalshi just signed a deal with CNN to talk some gambling, like when it comes to the election, which you can't legally gamble on anyway, but I guess on Kalshi you can, because you could like bet other people on who you think is going to win. So it's like they're a little loophole. We're finding lots of loopholes these days in the gambling world. It's like head to head. It's not a sports book and the same, whatever. I'm not going to make fun of people because I like that the industry is growing. But the one other story today that was very, very bizarre was that Aaron Judge received 11 votes for mayor. God, this city sucks, but it probably wouldn't have been any better with Aaron Judge as mayor, to be honest. So that was the one weird thing of the day. But we could dive into, I'm going to just tweet out that we're doing Prop Queen Edges early. NBA Prop Queen Edges on right now. And if anybody misses anything and you need to watch back, you could go to the YouTube page at Prop Queen Media, and you could get everything on the YouTube page that you might have missed from today's show. I'm going to go down the list of games in order, starting with this Portland and Cleveland game. I didn't like anything, actually, but there was a very good trend. You know, I'm going to pull that from Jared Block, who's coming on. Jared Block from Trinity Analytics normally comes on Mondays, but I didn't have a show this week. So he's going to come on tomorrow. But he actually found a really good trend in this Cavaliers game that he found on props.cash. Oh, it's not going to let me do this, is it? Okay. Shout out again to Jared Block for this trend in the first game, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Donovan Mitchell. He's recorded 5+ assists in 6 games that Jared Allen, the center, has missed this year. Portland's allowed the 5th most assists to shooting guards this season. So you could be looking to the Donovan Mitchell 5+ assists, especially because so many people love to go the Darius Garland route. Donovan Mitchell, 5+ assists, thanks to Jared Block. The Denver and Indiana game. I almost said Indianapolis. The Denver and Indiana game. So I'm going to go to props.cash, and I'll show you all these charts that I saw. Isaiah Jackson under his rebounds. So Isaiah Jackson in games with Benedict Mathurin, Jackson's gone under 5.5 rebounds in 8 of 10 games. So I'm going to show you. Let me get the chart up. Isaiah Jackson. Come on. There we are. I'll share the screen with you. Nope. I am props.cash. Bad producer, Ariel. Bad producer. Isaiah Jackson of Indiana. So in games, we're going with assists right now. In games, and then you scroll down here where you could get his own teammates. Games with and without. Where am I? Oh, no. Sorry. We were on rebounds, not assists. Rebounds. Under 5.5 rebounds. So these are the games without Benedict Mathurin, and these are the games with Benedict Mathurin. Look at the big drop off there. You see the red, and then the games without him, you see the green. Well, we are with Benedict Mathurin tonight, which is why we're looking at the under 5.5 rebounds for Isaiah Jackson. So this isn't necessarily a correlation on Benedict Mathurin to Isaiah Jackson as much as it's a correlation of Benedict Mathurin to Pascal Siakam. Siakam's the team's only offensive weapon without Benedict Mathurin. So when Mathurin was out, Siakam was not focused on the boards and he was shooting the ball. Now that he has Mathurin back on the floor, Mathurin could put up points and Siakam could play more defense. That's going to take away from Isaiah Jackson on the boards. Jackson faced Denver earlier this season without Mathurin and grabbed 7 rebounds, with the Nuggets allowing the third least rebounds per game to their opponents. Game 2 should not feature a strong game for Jackson on the boards. Plus, Mathurin's in, so Siakam could focus on the boards, taking buckets or taking those rebounds away from Isaiah Jackson. So we're going under 5.5 rebounds for Isaiah Jackson tonight. Another prop in this game, Peyton Watson over 13.5 points. Sorry, I'm just trying to look in the chat. Peyton Watson over his points. So points, Watson. Again, just using props.cash so you guys can see how to use it and how useful it is and why we are using it this way. So Denver Nuggets small forward Peyton Watson to go over his 13.5 points. And let me just, I know I'm taking too long to get all this up, but I want to show you guys the graphs because I feel like, let me see. All right, this one's a little harder to show on a graph, so I'm just going to say it to you guys anyway. So Peyton Watson for the Denver Nuggets, his minutes have significantly gone up since Aaron Gordon's been out with a hamstring injury. Watson went from 23 minutes played to 32 minutes without Gordon. Watson's averaging just under 18 points a game without Gordon, going over 13.5 points in 6 of 7 games. The Pacers have allowed the 8th most points per game to their opponents. Guards should have success because the Pacers suck in the paint. So Peyton Watson over 13.5 points tonight. His minutes have gone up. His points have gone up without Aaron Gordon on the floor. So we're going to take advantage of a bad Pacers D. Some other markets to know about. Nuggets, 3rd least rebounds per game. Pacers, 8th most points per game allowed. Pacers, 4th most rebounds per game allowed. And Pacers, 5th least assists per game allowed. Next game, we've got the Spurs at the Magic. This one's also at 7 p.m. Eastern time. There is no Paolo Banchero in this game. There is no Victor Wembanyama in this game. So you've got a few different injuries that we have to take advantage of, which is why we're looking at Franz Wagner. Wagner is the team's leading scorer, facing a defense that's on the second leg of a back-to-back. The Spurs, they played last night at home against Memphis, and they won 126-119. So now on the second leg of a back-to-back with no Wemby, the Spurs go up against Orlando. And Franz Wagner has 34 and 33 points when at home against San Antonio in his career. Small forwards have had a lot of success against San Antonio with 7 of the last 10 going over their points prop. So Franz Wagner at home tonight for Orlando against the San Antonio Spurs. If you've been following me for a while, then you would know that Desmond Bane is one of my favorite players to bet a 3-point prop on. For the last few years, he's kind of fallen off a little bit with injuries and whatnot. But Desmond Bane, a couple years ago, we were only at 1.5 for 3-point props. And that season, that then went up to like 3.5. We're at 2.5 tonight. Bane, there's value here at plus 132. In 4 of the 5 home games without Banchero, Bane cashed 3 3-pointers. The Spurs have allowed the 8th most threes per game this year. So getting a bad perimeter defense on the second leg of a back-to-back, we could take advantage of them putting up some 3-point shots, taking advantage of a bad perimeter D. And then the power forward, Harrison Barnes, under 18.5 points, rebounds, and assists. So I like to find ways to fade players that they had a big performance on the first night of a back-to-back, which was Harrison Barnes last night. He had 31 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. That game was at home. But Barnes, when he's on the road, he's actually gone under this points, rebounds, and assist prop of 18.5 in 7 of those 9 games. In fact, on the road, Barnes is only averaging just under 16 PRA. Tonight, Barnes is facing this defense that's allowing the 7th least points per game, 7th least rebounds per game, 3rd least assists per game. 7 of the last 11 power forwards have gone under their PRA props against Orlando. And that's even including games without Banchero. So Harrison Barnes, it's very rare that a player who's not named like one of the All-Stars is going to have back-to-back great nights on the second leg of a back-to-back, especially after such a big game yesterday. So I'm going to fade Harrison Barnes tonight, at least as one of the plays that I think stands out for sure. So that game's also at 7 o'clock. Now I think we venture into the 7:30s. Yeah, 7:30 games, Eastern time, of course. Clippers at Hawks. I'm loving myself some Onyeka Okongwu tonight because Kristaps Porzingis is out again with an illness. He has PODS, which according to my friend, is something that's going to bother Porzingis the rest of his career, and it's probably going to be bad. So Okongwu has actually been pretty good. I'll bring him up. Again, this is why I love props.cash, because there's going to be a lot of games now. I used to do all this manually, which was such a pain in my ass. I had like these massive spreadsheets on Google Sheets where I was able to just like keep track of how players did with or without certain players on the floor. And we're doing that with Okongwu now because here, I'll share the screen. So Okongwu, I said I liked his over points and over assists. And remember, these two teams did play already, but Okongwu came off the bench because Porzingis did play in that game. And then last year, Okongwu had one game where he played with Clint Capella out. So it's I have to make sure that Okongwu is playing as a starter and that he's without the starting center. Without Porzingis, lots of green pops up. This game is also at home. And that's his points. But overall, without Porzingis, averaging just under 19 points a game, going over in 6 of 10. Let me see. Also, against the Clippers last time coming off the bench, he went under this number. He put up 32 and 20 against the 2 bottom 10 defenses that Okongwu faced without Porzingis this year. Like, you could look that up too. So I was looking up the different bottom 10 defenses that he faced this year, and it was, I think, Phoenix is top 10. Charlotte and Utah, I think, were the 2, that are bottom 10. 20 and 32 points that he put up against the 2 bottom 10 defenses he faced without Porzingis. And again, Okongwu, when he played that game against Atlanta against the Clippers without Clint Capella, 18 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists. The Clippers have allowed the 9th most points per game this year. So if you're going to get a big like Okongwu up against the Clippers, I'd be looking at him over 17.5 points, especially because he wasn't really part of the game plan in game 1. His over assists also stands out because if you look at the assists without Porzingis, all of these went over. 9 of 10. He's averaging just under 4 assists per game, Okongwu, in the games without Kristaps Porzingis this year. So I thought that was pretty interesting because we don't really think too much about power forwards and centers dishing the ball out. But when you've got a low number of 2.5, it's pretty juiced, but you could throw it into like a prize picks lineup or something. But this was pretty notable. No Porzingis equals a lot more assists, doubling them pretty much for Okongwu. And the last prop that stood out was the James Harden unders. This is going to be a fun one to show on props.cash because we've got 2-star players that have a massive impact on each other. We're going to look up the James Harden without and with Kawhi Leonard numbers. And on the PropQueen.com newsletter, I wrote them out for you guys. So, and I'm trying to remember now, were those home or away? Okay, no, it's overall. So these are the James Harden numbers. James Harden overall this year, these are his points. Let's do James Harden. You could scroll here for teammates. James Harden without Kawhi. Oh, look at all the green, right? All those points. 25.5 point prop. Lots of green. With Kawhi, lots of red. And this game's also on the road. Lots of red. And look again, without Kawhi. All of that green without Kawhi on the road. All the red when James Harden is playing with Kawhi on the road. Plus, these two teams played each other already this year, and Harden went off. Harden, in that first game, he ended up having like a 30-point performance against Atlanta. But when you're averaging 10 less points a game, so Harden's averaging 10 less points a game without Kawhi. He's averaging 10 less points per game with Kawhi. He's averaging 1.5 rebounds less per game without Kawhi. Oh my God, I keep doing this. Start over. James Harden with Kawhi, averaging 10 points less per game. James Harden with Kawhi, averaging 1.5 rebounds less per game. Assists are about the same. But there are a lot of markets that go red when Kawhi and James Harden are on the floor together. Look, that's points. Rebounds all go under 5.5 with Kawhi on the floor for James Harden. Assists, most of them go under. PRA, and this is all on the road too, with Kawhi on the road. Unders. This was unders. So anything on the road with Kawhi, and also Kawhi has great history in the last few years when playing in Atlanta. The Kawhi head-to-head points. He has 25 and 36 in Atlanta, and he's averaging in his last 4 games 25 points per game against Atlanta. His points per up 23.5, so you could look to some Kawhi overs, but I am fading James Harden tonight. I'm not going to probably fade his assists, but I would fade everything else. James Harden PRA, James Harden PR, James Harden points, James Harden rebounds even, but I wouldn't fade assists alone because he screwed me before on that, but James Harden with Kawhi on the floor is a big, big difference. Hornets at Knicks. I'm not going to tackle this game too much because the Knicks are coming off they're on a second leg of the back-to-back. They just played in Boston last night. They lost after a near comeback. The Knicks have a great defense, and they're playing a crappy Hornets team. However, when you're on the second leg of a back-to-back, you just don't know. What I do know is that Jalen Brunson, over 2.5 three-pointers made, is a very nice prop. Well, last year it was. This year it's only a 2-game sample size. No, Sean. I'm not. I'm backing this. Con Kneppel is on Charlotte. I've got 2 3-point props. I said I'm not backing the Knicks in any capacity today because the New York Knicks defense is top 10, but except their perimeter D. Their perimeter D sucks, hence the 3-point prop. But I'm not backing anything that supports the Knicks because they're on the second leg of a back-to-back, except Jalen Brunson, who played a really crappy game last night in Boston. So now he's going to go back to the Garden where he plays best. He's going to face a terrible perimeter defense in the Hornets. Brunson's going to go off tonight. Looking at Brunson's numbers last year when he was on the second leg of a back-to-back coming home. Brunson. Oh, and I should tweet out that I'm using props.cash right now. Let's just tweet one more time. And then Mr. Dreamy's coming on in 8 minutes, so we could finish if we don't. In edges with props.cash. Using props.cash. If you have questions for tonight's NBA props, tune in now and ask them. Okay, now that we tweeted again, Jalen Brunson numbers. Jalen Brunson, let's add the So you've got Jalen Brunson, 3 points, right? I'm going to go back to last year. Jalen Brunson last year at home on 0 days rest put up at least 3 threes in 4 of those 5 games. That's at home on the second leg of a back-to-back. Jalen Brunson puts up at least 3 threes. When he's head-to-head with the Hornets at home, meh against the Hornets, but on the second leg of back-to-back, coming off a game that he should be angry about how badly he performed, I would look there. J-Main mentioned Mikal Bridges over 15.5 points. I think what scared me about that is that these two teams played. I could be thinking of Josh Hart, though. So these two teams played recently, and you guys know that I will not bet anything that happened in that last game that was just a couple of weeks ago. Mikal Bridges had 18 points in that game. Josh Hart, 22 points and 8 rebounds. Karl-Anthony Towns, 19 points, 10 rebounds. Jalen Brunson only had 2 3-pointers in that game, but he put up 33. But again, I just don't like to bet what already happened in game 1. So Jalen Brunson did not hit 3 threes in game 1, which is why I'm okay with it. Concanipple, look at this, though. This is like my favorite 3-point prop today. So the Hornets rookie, Concanipple, has been absolutely fire on the road from 3. Isn't that insane? Like, look at how bad his home numbers are. Not great. At home, averaging 2.5 threes a game. On the road, averaging 4.5 threes a game, going over an 8 of 10. The only concern that I would have about this is like playing your first NBA game at MSG. But honestly, like, this is a crazy trend to be averaging 4.5 threes a game on the road. Concanipple's been great. He's the leading 3-point shooter on the Hornets. And the Knicks, the worst and their Achilles heel of the defense for the second straight year is the perimeter defense. 4th most threes a game allowed by the New York Knicks this year. You could look to the over on threes for Concanipple, the leading 3-point shooter, who in the first game went 0 for 7 from outside. 0 for 7! But he was at home in Charlotte, where he doesn't shoot the 3 as well. For whatever reason, Concanipple's shooting the 3 everywhere else except Charlotte. So over 3s for Concanipple tonight. I obviously didn't really love this game. It's a really crappy game. Really crappy. Nets at Bulls. Michael Porter Jr. stood out. I think he'll play. Based on my research, it looked like he might play. Over 24.5 points. So he's averaging 28 points per game in his 4 games against bottom 10 defenses this year. He actually ended up posting 30-plus points in 3 of those 4 games. The Bulls have allowed the 4th most points per game this year. 64% of small forwards went over their points prop against Chicago in the last 10 games. The Bulls' defense is bad. We know that Vucevic isn't really a great defender. So MPJ, over 24.5 points. Again, he's averaging 28 in the 4 games he's faced the bottom 10 defense, and Chicago is one of those. He's on fire, 25 points per round. Kings at Rockets. This one was interesting because, again, this is why using props.cash was super helpful, because it's like, how do we decide between Kevin Durant, Jabari Smith Jr., and Alperen Şengün? Like, how do we decide this? Because they're 3 bigs, quote unquote, that all do very similar things, and they all can take away from each other on any given day. So because they're facing the Kings, Durant didn't have an injury designation. I was looking at it. Sean, don't distract me. Now I'm going to go look. But I'm pretty sure he didn't have an injury designation. It doesn't say he's out, dude. Kevin Durant does not say he's out. So, Sean, stop putting that stuff in the chat. So, Kevin Durant, I'm looking at this from a prop perspective. All 3 of these guys could do great things. They're getting a really bad Kings D. And I was looking at how all of them play together on the floor and how they all play against bottom 10 defenses. Kevin Durant, if you want to take him over 24.5 points, Against bottom 10 defenses, KD is averaging 26 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. Against teams bottom 10 in rebounds allowed, KD is averaging 27 points, 4 rebounds, 5.5 assists. So pretty much against teams that are bottom 10 in points allowed, bottom 10 in rebounds allowed, KD is averaging 26 to 27 points. Jabari Smith Jr., you could look to over 13.5 points. You could look to over 6.5 rebounds. Against bottom 10 Ds, he's averaging 15 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. When facing teams bottom 10 in rebounds allowed, he's averaging 15.5 points, 8.5 rebounds, and 2 assists. So again, against teams bottom 10 in points and rebounds allowed, Smith's averaging 15 to 16 points and 6 to 8.5 rebounds. So I would say like Jabari Smith Jr. maybe there for points. Alperen Sengun over 9.5 rebounds in games with KD, with KD and Jabari Smith Jr. Sengun, against teams bottom 10 in rebounds allowed, he's grabbed 13 and 11 boards. There's been 2 games this year. And all these stats are making sure that KD, Jabari Smith Jr., and Alperen Sengun are on the floor together. If one player is out, I don't include it because it has to be with all 3 playing. So in the game that all 3 played against the team that's bottom 10 in rebounds allowed, Sengun grabbed 13 and 11 boards. The Kings are bottom 10 in points, rebounds, and assists allowed to their opponents. So you could look there. I was looking at Keegan Murray under 6.5 rebounds. He's averaging 2 less rebounds per game on the road, 8 at home versus 6 on the road. He's gone under 6.5 rebounds in 2 of 3 road games this year. 4 of Murray's last 6 games against Houston went under 6.5 rebounds, including all 3 in Houston. The Rockets are big, and they allow the least rebounds per game, to their opponents. 72% of power forwards have gone under their rebounds prop against the Rockets this year. So looking there as well. We've got, 2 other games to get to? I'll get to them real quick, and then we'll get to Dream. Kevin Porter Jr. under 15.5 points, and Ryan Rollins 5.5 assists. I'm going to go through these quickly, and then I've got Dreamy, and then we've got Royal Locks after Mr. Dream. So Pistons and Bucks, they just played in Milwaukee November 22nd. Pistons won 129-116. Kevin Porter Jr. under 15.5 points. He's only played in 3 games this year, and 2 were at home. He only had 10 and 13 points in those games. Porter Jr., his minutes, they went up last game, but they were playing the freaking Wizards. And the Wizards are the worst D in the NBA. So he put up 31 points. Great job. But now you're going to get the Pistons, who allow the 5th least points per game. 70% of shooting guards went under their points prop in the last 10 games against Detroit. Got to be wary of the minutes, too. So Kevin Porter Jr. under points. Ryan Rollins under 5.5 assists. He's averaging 4 assists per game at home with Giannis, going under in 7 of those 8 games. Without Giannis, Rollins actually went over in all 4 games. Giannis didn't play that last game on November 22nd. That's why Rollins had 7 assists. The Pistons allow the least assists per game. 69% of guards have gone under their assist prop in the last 10 against Detroit. So I'm looking under there on Rollins' assists. And lastly, we have to watch out for Daniel Gafford tonight. I haven't seen any update yet. He was still questionable when I saw Daniel Gafford. But if Daniel Gafford happens to be out, I was looking at props.cash, and I looked at the last 5 centers. And I know Anthony Davis is like a power forward, but I looked at the last 5 starting centers, a.k.a. their leading rebounders. Zubac went over 12.5 rebounds with 13. Isaiah Stewart. These are all this is against the Heat. So the last 5 to face the Heat. Zubac over 12.5 rebounds with 13. Isaiah Stewart over 7.5 rebounds with 8. Miles Turner over 6.5 rebounds with 8. Daniel Gafford over 7.5 rebounds with 11. And Andre Drummond over 12.5 rebounds with 24. Davis didn't play that last game. Derek Lively Jr. the second is also out. So your next big to grab boards is Anthony Davis. The Heat allow the second most rebounds per game. If Gafford's out, Anthony Davis didn't play that last game. So you could definitely look at him. Yeah, you could look at him for a double-double for sure, but you probably have to lay some juice on that. His over 10.5 rebounds is minus 140, and he's obviously going to put probably 10. So you have to just make sure that you're getting a decent number for the double-double. I don't know what that is, but you could let me know, Joseph Rodriguez. Let me know in the chat what that double-double price is. I'm going to bring on my good friend now onto the show. It is time to get his thoughts because he's got some straight-up action. He's got some parlays for us. It is Mr. Dream. How are you?
Hey, how's it going? How's your day?
It's going. I am ready to make some money in the NBA. Last night was kind of annoying. I'm trying to get a good feel for it. I have taken a little bit of time off of the NBA just because I like to wait until this time of year. I feel like we don't really have numbers until around now. Now we have solid numbers. Have there been any trends that stood out to you?
Oh man, a lot to choose from. Lately I've
What's
been
like something you see pop up on the board and you have to look into? It doesn't mean you bet it every time, but there's something you're like, okay, this team's playing. I have to check that out.
I mean, one look that you were just talking about, rebounds against um what was
Miami.
that? Yeah, rebounds against the Heat. Yeah, for sure. Um Tyrese Maxey. When his lines drop, I immediately look at if it's gonna be a close game. He's been playing awesome. Um That's really it. I'm not too much of a trend better. I like to use trends, but and Shea Gilgis Alexander, 30 points. If I can get his 30 points, and I think there's a chance that he can actually play a fourth quarter, I'll
Did
play back.
30s pop up? Because I feel like we're always at like 32 with him.
No, I try to find his like 30 and put it with something, or even his 28 sometimes and put it with something because he's generally going to make sure he gets his 30 or he's going to fall like a bucket short. But even since J Dub's been back, I haven't even touched his points at all just because it's too risky. I'll wait till the game's actually close and then I'll see if I can get some action on him.
That's what's so hard. There were certain players tonight that definitely are part of these double digit spread games that you're very weary of them because you worry about blowouts. Last night, I was a little bit worried about Ant-Man, but Anthony
No.
Edwards still ended up going off. So I gave it out on the show, and I said, if you're not worried about blowouts, then you
Yeah.
could look at Anthony Edwards, and he still ended up going off last night.
Yeah, definitely cost me my King of the Court promotion on DraftKings. I had Jalen Brown and Edwards. I think he sent the game to overtime and finished for like 40 something. So yeah, that was fun.
Well, let's try to make some money tonight. Tonight, you're looking at these straight up, and then we'll get into your parlay. Andrew Nembhard, 23 plus points plus assists. Why?
For a few reasons. The biggest reason is this is just a pretty good line for him. Now, it's not the best matchup for Nimhard at all. Um, the points allowed from Denver, the opposing point guards, is actually their top 10 in that category, and they're about middle of the pack in assists. So it's not the best matchup on paper, but he is over this 8 of his last 12 games. Let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 8 of his last 12 games. And this is more of a matchup. So not to bury the lead, but his little brother, who happens to be a rookie, just played this team and had 28 and 10. Now, I don't know if you guys have siblings, but yeah, I'm pretty sure they had conversations, a little bit of bragging, going back and forth. And I don't know if he's going to get 28 and 10 tonight, but I'd be hard pressed to believe he doesn't do his best to outplay his brother, or at least kind of match his brother and have a good game against his defense. So if his rookie brother can get 28 and 10, I think Nimhard can. And it's not just Nimhard. Opposing point guards versus his defense lately have been doing very well. Now, obviously, all these players, most of these players are better than Nimhart, but his little brother isn't. But yeah, Booker 24 and 7, De'Aaron Fox 15 and 12, 21 and 11 for Russell Westbrook, Amin Thompson 22 and 2, and we know Sengun generally gets the most assists for them. So for 22 points, Jeremiah Fears, a rookie, 16 points and 1 assist. Again, a guy that's not really looking to pass at all, as opposed to Ryan Nimhard, who's got about 5 or 6 assists. And I don't know. Actually, I can take a look really quick. Let's see. Yeah, he's actually got 6 assists in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 9 of his 12 games. So he's a guy looking to pass. He's a guy who can score. So I really like him in his position. Josh Giddey just had 21 and 6. Again, Nimhard's a better scorer than Giddey, but not as good as a passer. So I just think it's a great spot for him. He's locked in to about 30 to 33 minutes a night. So I'll take a stab for 0.75 units. Andrew Nimhart, 23 points plus assists. I just think it's an interesting twist of fate that his little brother just played them, who happens to be a rookie, and now he gets his shot at him. I think he's going to do well tonight.
We all know that we would tell our siblings any of the secrets that we had and learned from playing in an opponent. So that definitely could happen tonight with the Nembhard brothers. Darius Garland, he's without his center, Jared Allen, again. It's always a toss-up. How do you bet Darius Garland versus Donovan Mitchell? How do you figure out which of the guards you want to go with?
So, the way I tend to pick it out is I keep it pretty simple, in the words of my great dad. Keep it simple, stupid. I tend to just do Donovan Mitchell with points. And if I want to look toward assists, then I'll bet Garland. Now, in this particular situation, this matchup has done me and, the guys that bet with me, or the guys and girls that bet with me, has done us really well, this matchup. So, in particular for point guards, and I like that Garland's been getting a steady amount of minutes. 30 minutes his last 2 games before he missed last game, so I would assume he gets 30 minutes. So I'll take a stab with him tonight, especially since it's a good matchup for individual point guards versus Portland defense. So it's kind of matchup specific to answer your question.
What have you noticed with Cleveland with Jared Allen out? What changes? Evan Mobley, anything that you like to attack with Allen out?
Yeah, see, I don't bet. Evan Mobley stung me a few times. He's done well for me a few times, but he stung me a few times. Most notably, the last time I bet him with no Jared Allen or no Garland, I think he took like 7 shots that game. So I said, yeah, I'm good. But generally, if Jared Allen's out, then I'll actually look toward his rebounds. I tend not to bet Evan Mobley in any other circumstance, and vice versa. If Mobley's going to be out, then I'll tend to bet Jared Allen's rebounds, but they kind of cannibalize each other on the boards. Not so much the points, but on the board. So, some teams for me are just tougher to bet than others. Another one that's like Toronto, it's really tough for me to get someone from Toronto's points, because it's like anybody can get 15 to 23. Now, Ingram.
Well, they're also mid.
That's what I'm saying. Like, who are you going to take? And Ingram's kind of shown himself to be like, okay, I'm going to be the big dog. But even then, like, do you want to make a living?
And also with Ingram, unfortunately, you can't rely on him because he comes off the floor like last night, where you're worried if he's going to get injured.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then the line's 25. Like, come on. So
yes. No,
maybe, but
they're also mid. It's true. The Raptors are mid. Oh, God. Sean's just trying to annoy me today. Let's get to the parlay. We agree on a lot of players tonight. Kawhi, Brunson, Michael Porter Jr. I stayed away from De'Aaron Fox, but I was talking full game, not first quarter. What I find interesting is that you like these first quarter bets. How come you're going first quarter as opposed to full game?
Okay, so first off, shout out to my guy, Stick. Probably a lot of you guys might know him. He has like 100,000 followers on Twitter, but shout out to my guy Stick. He often exploits these markets, so it made me take a look into him. And then you put that with the fact that I actually love Jalen Brunson tonight to come out with a bang, because he played so bad last night, and he was just doing anything he could to make a shot down the stretch last night, and he could not make it. So I think against this inferior opponent, he can come out with the bang. So that just got me to thinking, okay, what other guys do I think can have a strong first quarter, or at least should do, decently, have a couple baskets. And everybody here, Kawhi Leonard, he's got 30 points in back-to-back games, or maybe even 3. I think he's got 30 in 3 or 4 games. So ever since he said that comment about we need some more talent, he's been playing great. Also, you tend to think that they're going to come out and play. Well, I tend to think they're going to come out and play a little harder. With the whole Chris Paul drama, Chris Paul probably was, trying to light a fire under their ass, and they were like, nah, you got to get him out of here. So I think Kawhi and actually Harden too, who's a top 5 in first quarter points, I think both of those guys are in a pretty good position to score. De'Aaron Fox, a matchup. Hey, just look at the last few point guards against the Magic, Tyrese Maxey, Steph Curry, Cade Cunningham. I mean, let me count the ways. This is another spot that we've been betting. So I think De'Aaron Fox comes out, just a couple buckets, and Michael Porter Jr., because it's Michael Porter Jr. Pretty good matchup. And I believe he's top 15 in first quarter points. No, he's top 20, but he averages 6 points per first quarter. So I think he can get 4. And Brunson, I kind of buried the lead there. So absolutely love Jalen Brunson to get 8 points. I think he's there's actual prop on FanDuel, where you can get Brunson to score 5 points in like the first 3 minutes of the game at plus 650. I even played that for 0.15 units. I think he comes out with a bang. So naturally, he'll take 2 or 3 shots, but no, I think he comes out pretty aggressive tonight. So
I agree. I was going with the Brunson over 2.5 3-pointers made tonight. He's getting a bad perimeter defense in the Hornets. He's going to try to get those shots up against the bad perimeter D at home at the Garden. He shoots better. And weirdly, he hasn't done that well in the second leg of a back-to-back at home this year. But last year, he was crushing it. So I feel like at some point, something's got to give.
Yeah. And again, if you just watched that game last night, you could hear the just collective groans from the crowd when he would. It's like the last 3-4 minutes of that game. I was watching every second, trying to get Jaylen Brown to score as many points as he could, or points and rebounds and assists. And every time he missed, the crowd was just like, oh.
My friend who's a diehard, and by the way, Joseph Rodriguez, if you got a question, we'll answer it for you. Oh, he said, can the Knicks win the cup? I saw some rumors swindling about Giannis.
I was gonna say, yeah. And I actually, my guy Flo is like the biggest Knicks fan I know. And I told Flo at the beginning of last year, I thought Giannis or Embiid would be a Knick by this time this year. So yeah, with Giannis, they can win the chip, let alone the cup. But without Giannis,
but what do you give up? You got to give up something for Giannis, no?
Hey, maybe I'll give up Karl Anthony Towns for sure. He's about here. I'll give up Karl Anthony Towns, and I got to give up either Mikal Bridges or OG Anunoby, and maybe some future first, and that's gonna have to be it.
I feel like no one's gonna want OG after all these injuries and him not being able to play recently. But Bridges,
yeah, maybe Mikal. Yeah,
you can't get rid of Josh Hart though.
No, and I don't know if Josh will move the needle as much as
Mitch. Yeah, let's get rid of M-Rob. Screw him. Screw him. I'm over him. I can't even mention his name. It's Voldemort on this show. We don't mention him, and he's part of the graveyard. There's a few players I could list on one hand that I refuse to mention on this show, and he is one of those.
Now, Eric, I know you got to go really quick, though. I forgot to mention this with Darius Garland. So as far as the point guards, the last few point guards, I'll just quickly read off their points and assists that faced this Portland defense. Quickly had 23 last night and 8 assists. Shea 26 and 5. You know that was probably in 2.5 quarters, maybe 3. Fox 37 and 8. Shea in 37 and 7. That was a full game's worth. Steph 38 and 4. So a pretty good matchup. Now these guys are all better than Darius Garland, but it's a good spot for Garland, so that's why I took him as well. I forgot to mention
Mr. Dreamy. You can find him at Mr. Dreamy1 on social media, and Johnny here said he likes this dude's analysis. You got a new follower, my man. I love to hear that. Catch him over at Mr. Dreamy1 on socials. He is the absolute best. He got the parlays. He's got some deals. What else should people see you doing around these days?
Yeah, man, you can follow me on Twitter, Mr. Dreamy1, the number 1, and some to my YouTube channel, Blunt Money Bets, like a blunt person or like a blunt you would smoke, Blunt Money Bets. So, yeah.
It's so you. It's the best. It's the best. It is so you. You're so dreamy, Mr. Dreamy. And for anyone who missed it, and the last time he was on, he told the story behind his name.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I did.
You are the best. Good luck tonight. Thanks again for coming on.
All right. I appreciate you having me. Have a great one. Best of luck tonight, guys and girls.
He is awesome. And if you missed it, basically an old lady said he was so dreamy, and his friends started laughing at him, making fun of him for the old lady calling him dreamy. So now he goes by Mr. Dreamy. We've got Royal Locks of the Day. I was trying to see if they would post the most bet on props of the day, but they did not in the association. So we don't have those. I'll check one more time. I don't think we have them yet, though, and they're not in my inbox. We've got college basketball betting. I could tell you guys the most bet on college basketball bets. The most, I guess, here, if you like college hoops, which I don't do, but if you like college hoops, we've got, it's not really, it's not propaganda, though, because it's not props. I'm not doing propaganda. The most bet on spreads tonight in college hoops: Louisville, Indiana U, Clemson, Auburn, Vanderbilt. That was the most bet on tickets. The most bet on spreads, money coming in: Arkansas, Indiana, Clemson, Auburn, Vanderbilt. So it's the same. Let's see. The most bet totals: Clemson at Alabama over, Louisville at Arkansas over, Indiana, Minnesota over, NC State, Auburn under, SMU, Vanderbilt over. So those are your most bet on sides and totals in college hoops tonight in case you like to fade the public. Was that old lady area? No, it wasn't me. You just take Louisville to stand defeated. And if you guys do need some more college hoops action, you guys know my girl Kelly in Vegas and my guy CT Bets. They love college hoops. I'll try to get them on for a big college hoops day and some college football as well as we get to the big parts of college football, which mid-major Matt will tackle that coming up in conference championship week this weekend. Now we've got my best bets of the day. It is Royal Locks. First, the prize picks lineup of the day. James Harden, Ryan Rollins, and of course, those two are part of my best bets of the day. Starting with James Harden unders, I mentioned how much I'm fading James Harden today. James Harden with Kawhi. So Harden with Kawhi averaging 22 points a game, without Kawhi averaging 32. Kawhi's on the floor tonight. Harden is getting a really tough matchup tonight with Kawhi on the floor because Kawhi loves Atlanta, and Kawhi has put up like 30-plus points in Atlanta. Harden had a great last game against the Hawks, but there was no Kawhi in that game. In games with Kawhi, Harden's gone under his rebounds plus assists prop in all five road games. He's also gone under his PRA prop in 4 of 5 road games. But I'm just going to stick the points because that's where the biggest point differential is with and without Kawhi for Harden. Again, 23 points a game with Kawhi, 32 points a game without Kawhi. And then there's Ryan Rollins, so I'm going to take his under 5.5 assists or 5 or under on Prize Picks. He's only averaging 4 assists per game at home when Giannis is on the floor with him. When Giannis is playing, Rollins has gone under in 7 of the 8 home games. Without Giannis, he actually went over in all 4. But with Giannis on the floor, he goes under. Giannis didn't play in the last game. These two teams, Milwaukee and Detroit, they faced each other on November 22nd, and Rollins had 7 assists. So it should be a little fishy to you that it's 5.5. The Pistons allow the least assists per game. 69% of guards go under their assist prop in the last 10 against Detroit. So Ryan Rollins goes under his 5.5 assists. So, less than. I have to be specific. So it's less than 25.5 points for James Harden, less than 5 assists for Ryan Rollins. And now the best bets part of the show is brought to you by Pickett Sports. So I'm also going to bet these straight up. James Harden under his points, like I mentioned. Nipple over his 3.5 threes. He's averaging 4.5 3-pointers a game on the road this year. The Knicks are bottom 10 they're bottom 5 in threes allowed to their opponents. And Nipple is leading the Hornets in 3-point shooting. In fact, he went 0 for 7 in the home game he had against the Knicks earlier this year, just a few weeks ago. For the leading 3-point shooter on the Hornets against a bad perimeter D in the Knicks, who are on the second leg of a back-to-back. The Knicks just played last night against Boston. Tired legs, bad perimeter defense already, plus coming off the game against Boston, Nipple over 3.5 threes. I just don't like to add, I don't love 3-point props, so I don't like to put them in mess. I'd be so mad if a 3-point prop ruined. It's a high one, too. 3.5 is high. I'd be mad if it ruined my Prize Picks lineup. So I'm just going to take these two unders. $250 pays you $750. But then you've also got the Royal Locks. Nipple, James Harden, Ryan Rollins go under their props. And Nipple goes over his 3-point prop tonight. I hope all this helped you guys today. Tomorrow, it's Thursday Night Football. Jared Block is going to join the show. We're going to talk NBA with him. We'll talk some NFL. We'll get an early look at his thoughts for the upcoming week in the NFL as well. I'll give you a little bit of a preview, too, for some of the things, early props for Sunday. But we'll talk Thursday Night Football. We'll talk NBA tomorrow here on the show. Remember, if you like Prize Picks and you want to sign up, you can use promo code PropQueen and bet like I do. And if you want to use the graphs like I showed you guys at props.cash, you could get 50% off using promo code PropQueen, and it's pretty much $9 for your first month. And you get all those cool fancy graphs, which will be very helpful for playoff season because they have a playoff section. So you could see prime time, playoffs, you see how players have done historically in those times. But again, in the NBA, props.cash is super useful because there's so many injuries, so many players out, and we need to figure out how to attack certain teams with injuries. And that's exactly what props.cash helps you do. So sign up using promo code PrepQueen. And lastly, for free, subscribe to my YouTube page because my mom says that I don't talk about it enough. So we need to. And I am like 40 subscribers away from 1,000, which my year-end goal is to hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. So if you guys could spread the word, subscribe to the YouTube. There are 2,300 people watching right now, 2,300 live. And at the end of every show, it ends up being like 5,000 people. And only 960 of you subscribe to the YouTube page. It's free. And it's just helping me. So please like and subscribe to the YouTube page. Thank you. Thank you, Johnny. Thank you, Johnny. I don't mean to yell at you guys. I love you guys. I appreciate the fact that you guys are here means the freaking world to me. And last but not least, Mark Andrews, the Ravens tight end, has signed a 3-year extension. Oh boy, here's the funny part of this. I'm not even gonna overly react to this. So it's a 3-year, $39 million extension. But the funniest part of all is that Mark Andrews proposed to his now fiance right after Thanksgiving. You don't think this bro knew? He knew. They just signed the contract today. Mark Andrews just proposed on Friday. He knew he was getting signed. We thought this dude was getting traded. We thought he was out. Beginning of the year, not one Ravens fan thought this dude was staying in Baltimore after dropping the ball last playoff. But now he's here. 3 more years. 3 more years. 3 more years. Whatever. I don't even care. I just got a good text, though, from a Ravens fan. Let's see what he said. Ravens are the most unserious team. Mediocrity forever. So Ravens fans are already not happy about this. I literally don't care. If you think that Mark Andrews is the reason this team's not winning a Super Bowl, you're beyond yourself. There are so many more issues past this. And maybe I'll bring on Ryan Ripken. Ryan Ripken is a good friend of mine, Cal Ripken's son. Maybe I'll bring him on and we could talk about the Ravens because he knows a thing or two. So maybe I could get his thoughts. What's your opinion on the Bears? I don't care for the Bears at all, actually. They did climb up in the odds board a bit. They had the 7th best odds to win the NFC. Now they have the 5th. Even when they have been the 1 seed on Sunday, when they were the 1 seed in the NFC, they were the 12th best odds to win the Super Bowl. The book's telling you something. I just don't trust the Bears' D. Their run D has been tough. So any good running backs are going to destroy them, dominate time of possession. For the Bears, quarterback Caleb Williams, I don't think it's not DeAndre Swift is great. So I think that's been a huge factor for them in being able to run the football, but I don't trust the Bears and I don't trust their run D. I think that their run D is pretty poor. And I want to see the rest of their schedule real quick. And then I got to go. Let's see the Bears, rest of their schedule. So the Bears the rest of the way get Green Bay in Lambeau, Cleveland, Green Bay at home, at San Fran, then home against Detroit the last week of the year. They've pretty much got 4 hard games. I know that it was pretty impressive that they beat Philly. I did not see that coming. I thought Philly was going to blow their doors off. So that was an impressive one. See, unlike the New England Patriots, the Bears have had some good wins. But here's what I was listening to somebody talk about this. There's teams right now at the top of each conference that don't have much playoff experience. A lot of the teams with playoff experience are having bad regular seasons. Bills, Chiefs, Ravens. In the NFC, the Eagles just have been on an absolutely terrible Super Bowl hangover dare. But when it comes to playoff time and these inexperienced teams, the Bears, the Patriots, have to go up against teams like even Dallas. I like Dallas. Dak Prescott's playing really well. That offense is the best in the NFL. The defense is looking better. I don't trust Tampa. It's too many injuries. The Rams obviously look good, but I feel like they always find a way to lose. No, I wasn't listening to Matt Dog. But anyway, and also it's hard. It is hard in the NFL to beat the same team twice. And you know what happens. The Bears, if they get the Eagles in the playoffs, might get smacked. Look at what happened when the Eagles played the Giants the second time after being upset. Smacked. I know we can't really compare the Bears and the Giants, but like, I do like the Cowboys. I think they're sneaky. I don't know if they'll win a Super Bowl, but I do think they're sneaky. Maybe they win a Super Bowl. Maybe it's the year of them boys. Maybe Jerry gets a ring. I don't know. But the Cowboys definitely have a little bit of value there. The Rams, of course. The AFC is wide freaking open. Gosh, the AFC is just a mix of a bunch of crap teams, including the New England Patriots, who are just playing better than the rest of the crap. Anyway, thanks, guys, for tuning in. I will see you tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern time here on the Prep Queen Pod. Good luck with your bets.